From starring in Tron Legacy with no one noticing to on-screen rivalries that last generations, word on the street is Cillian Murphy is rumored to reprise his role in Tron Ares. And I know how that sounds, but I guess, like most people, you may have not noticed, but he had an uncredited role in Tron Legacy. Murphy played Edward Dillinger Jr., son of Ed Dillinger Sr., the antagonist of the 1982 Tron, and to be honest, it's completely understandable if you didn't notice, because the guy looks unrecognizable. I mean, just look at him. Even I didn't know his hair could do that. Cillian hardly had any lines and only a minute or so of screen time. But in an extra scene from the Blu-ray version of the movie, he's seen texting someone on his phone named Dad, which sets up something far greater for the third film in the franchise. This proves casting Murphy was the perfect way to introduce the villain of another Tron movie. He was introduced as the new head of the Encom software design team. And if you've seen both the 1982 and 2010 films, the people in this company are not good people. Edward's father, on the other hand, was the senior executive of Encom and wrote the Master Control program to his own liking. This is where he stole Kevin Flynn's game space for Paranoids, which led to the protagonist getting dragged into the virtual world. If his father was evil, I don't see why Dillinger can have the same mission, because that's usually what sci-fi movie plots are like. Unfortunately, even if there was some father-son duo going on in Ares, they'd have to find a replacement for the late David Warner, who played the antagonist in 1982. The way Flynn returned in Legacy, there are a lot of ways for a quick Dillinger family reunion. Let's just hope there are less CGI humans like last time, because I'm pretty sure no one could take Clue seriously. This is also one of the reasons why fans don't take Tron that seriously. Even though Legacy was a gorgeous film with amazing lighting, music, and action sequences, it tanked with the whole CGI thing. You have to admit that the visual effects were a huge upgrade from the first part. And since the release date for Ares is unofficially the 19th of December 2025, there's still a long way to go and plenty of room to improve CGI. The cool part about this is that we've never really seen Cillian stand in front of a green screen before, or be in a movie that heavily relies on CGI. Jeff Bridges was turning into a walking PlayStation 3 character in Tron Legacy. So you can get an idea of how much this franchise needs good visual effects. And since the fans weren't huge supporters of AI Kevin Flynn, bringing back Ed Dillinger like that would probably give the same results as the movie's predecessor. This isn't a huge problem, because the Peaky Blinders actor being a part of the next installment could be really good for marketing. After all, a huge chunk of people will be seeing him in Oppenheimer on the 21st of July, 2023. Considering Cillian is a tremendous actor, he would be a perfect addition to the Tron movies if they want to expand the universe into something bigger. But for now, fans should consider this news to be what it really is, a rumor. Entertainment scooper Daniel Richtman is the one who made the air-quote announcement. So no, it wasn't officially stated. Some people didn't even know that there was another Tron movie on its way because of how they shelved a potential sequel shortly after the 2010 release. Now, just because a reporter shared this bit of information about the upcoming project doesn't mean that it's completely false, because Richtman is one of the very few scoopers who usually ends up being right. On top of that, this isn't some sort of fan cast where it's almost impossible to get your favorite actor on board with an unlikely role, because he's already been cast as the character. It can't be just a coincidence that Murphy, of all people, was chosen for a role that served more as a cameo than an actual role itself. It's also not as if Cillian was an unknown actor in the industry back then, because he had portrayed Scarecrow flawlessly in Nolan's Batman Begins back in 2005. Now, if a filmmaking mastermind like Christopher Nolan finds comfort in casting Murphy in his films, then Tron Ares would be lucky to have him reprise his role, especially since it's from Disney Studios, a company that has been lacking in the actor's filmography. So, apart from bringing back Edward Dillinger Jr., what else do we know about the third part of this franchise? Don't you have to know the story so far before jumping into the details of the next one? To jog your memory a bit, we know Kevin Flynn was a gifted hacker and programmer who wanted to expose the secrets of Encom. In doing so, he discovered that the virtual world isn't just lines of code, but are living, thinking beings. Fast forward to dealing with Edward Sr., taking down the Master Control program and being crowned the new CEO of the company. Kevin disappears just a few years later. This is where the story picks up in the 2010 sequel, where the lost CEO's son, Sam Flynn, is on a similar mission to his father's. This time, Kevin is trapped in a new version of the grid that he created as a virtual being named CLU, who plays the antagonist of the movie. You probably remember Sam's father sacrificing himself and taking down the perfect system with him, right? This is a problem. And slight loophole too, so you know that Tron is an actual character too. And when Clue reprogrammed him, Kevin blew up everything in the end, and later Tron was seen falling into the digital sea where he began to break his mind control programming. Plot hole or not, this could be addressed in the sequel. And it's a shame the OG one was put on hold due to the poor performance of the 2010 release. The film made around $300 million with a budget of $170 million. The fate of Kevin may have been changed if some of you remember that short that was released in 2011 titled Tron: The Next Day, which showed the events of, you guessed it, the day after Tron Legacy. Here, Sam's father is teased to be alive in the grid, while his son is trying to bring him back. See how the same actors reprised their roles from 1982? Too bad the box office results messed up all the plans for this franchise, and the casting directors may not know this yet, but the person they've hired to play the lead role might just be adding to the problem. Jared Leto is confirmed to be an Aries, and he's expressed how big of a fan he is of the movies. Why is this a problem for the blockbuster? Well, that's just it, isn't it? Leto may be an Academy Award-winning actor, but that doesn't take away the fact that the blockbusters he's in do terribly, especially when it's anything close to the superhero genre. Just look at Suicide Squad and Morbius. Good thing Cillian Murphy might as well break this curse, because the only superhero movie he's been in is considered to be one of the best ones in the genre. Murphy also stars in films that perform relatively well. Or maybe that's just because most of them are directed by the same guy who directed The Dark Knight and Interstellar. Apart from the Joker with tattoos, you can expect people from 2010 to reprise their roles, where Jeff Bridges would be Kevin Flynn, that's if he's alive. Garrett Hedlund will take on the role of Sam Flynn, with Olivia Wilde as Quora, and of course, the Oppenheimer lead as Edward Dillinger Jr. Joseph Kosinski was supposed to direct a sequel to Tron Legacies back in the early 2010s, but he blamed the studios for focusing too much on other franchises like Marvel and Star Wars, which caused his film to underperform. So now, Joachim Roening will be responsible for Ares. You might have seen his work in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales from 2017, and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil from 2019. Now that we have a rough idea about the cast, what about the plot? Sadly, that too is unconfirmed. To make some assumptions, Sam, who's probably taken some control of Encom by now, will be using its resources to explore the mysteries of integrating the computer world with the real world. There are probably more secrets than some people, like a certain head of design and son of an Encom senior executive, would not like to be revealed. So how will the events unfold? And is the Inception actor even playing the villain or not? Well, I guess all of that will be answered when the movie drops in 2025. And so, from on-screen rivalries that last generations to starring in Tron Legacy with no one noticing, that's everything you need to know about Cillian Murphy reprising his role in Tron Ares.